Welcome to Inside Richmond, the official vodcast of Richmond Rugby Club. My name is Tom Soulsby, and today it's a huge pleasure to welcome to the show a vastly experienced Richmond Women's back, local Pilates instructor and specialist personal trainer, Sophie Pascall. Sophie, welcome to Inside Richmond. How are things going and how's life treating you during lockdown too?
Hi. Thank you very much for having me. Life's pretty hectic, as you can imagine, at the moment. And lockdown too. It's all fine now. I had a little bit of a wobbly moment, as I think everybody did. But what we learned from the first lockdown was that everything will get back on track eventually. And it's kind of just settling into it and adjusting to that change. So yeah, all okay. Keeping busy.
Absolutely. I think that's the most important part. We've got a big show ahead to chat to you, obviously, about a really exciting fundraising challenge, which you're doing next year and you're preparing for at the moment. But before we do, let's have a quick chat about your career as a Pilates instructor and personal trainer. I guess just firstly, what do you love about your job? And was this something that you always wanted to get into?
Yes. I mean, I've always been interested and always been very active and into fitness. My first career path was in a gym, working just on the front of house. So it was kind of, I was in that environment already, and it just blossomed from there. It was a very natural kind of progression into becoming a personal trainer. And then the Pilates came along about 5 or 6 years ago, and that was a little bit more of an interesting turn because it was very unplanned. I really didn't. So with that, no, I didn't plan that at all. But I love it, and it's really kind of. I've always, because of the rugby, I've always sort of lent more towards the strength and conditioning side of things, and sort of having that approach to training others. And the Pilates kind of ties in well with that because it is, a lot of it is quite rehabilitative, and injury prevention and coming back from injury, or just getting your body moving and feeling good, so it's all about kind of bringing that balance to things. So I adore it. That's a big part of why I love it.
Obviously, this year has been really tough for everyone, but for the fitness industry in particular, I guess it's been hugely challenging. How difficult has it been for you, and how hard have you worked to sort of adapt to the situation and try to maintain an income?
Good question. It has been extremely tough for everyone, for the fitness industry especially, I think, because obviously it's a place where everybody is quite close and sweaty and getting fairly familiar, and so you've not had a place of work. Sorry, I'm just to say right now, I've got this creature trying to
special guest on the show.
I'm trying really hard to keep on track. Wait, what's that? Can you go away, please? Seriously, just 1 second. 1 minute of peace. Sorry.
That's awesome.
Oh God, she's gonna do that now. All this interview.
That's fine.
God, yeah. It's been fine. Yeah. It's been a challenge. It's difficult, really, isn't it? Because I think I don't want to say that it's especially difficult for some and not others, because I think everybody in some way has really been finding it hard. It's just and for me, the first lockdown, I really did have a bit of a meltdown actually for the first couple of weeks, because it's just completely uncharted territory where the concept of not being able to go and earn money, not being able to bring money in, but then your rent's still going out, your money's still going out, and that part of life is still happening. So it's almost like part of the world has stopped and then the other part of it is still going. That was terrifying. And just like anything, it's just about adjusting to a change, which is really difficult. So it's a pretty steep learning curve. You have to just sort of get on it fairly quickly. And for me, and for most other instructors and people in the industry, getting online, that's all we could do. So getting converting what clients you have to be online, if they're okay with doing that. Studio, I work in a studio mainly. That's a big part of what I do, and that was obviously out. I was I was able to do some hours still there, but nothing to the amount that I was on before. So in terms of maintaining an income, it's still pretty bleak, but I found that after lockdown last time that it gets better, and actually I have to, for this one, I'm kind of just sort of sitting in that knowledge that things will get better again. But it's just that horrible static mode of just being like, oh God, biting your nails, like, oh God, it's, that's why in a way it's kind of nice to be as busy as I am, because I find that now I have less time to worry about that kind of thing.
Absolutely. And I guess lockdown, it's challenging, but what would be your advice to those looking to maintain or improve their fitness while at home?
Get out as much as you can, obviously given the right circumstances, making sure we're staying safe and a safe distance and all the rest of it. But get out and get out into the fresh air, and try not to be sort of spending too much time sedentary and just sat down. And if you've not got the option of getting out and about, try and actually physically just bring yourself up and do sort of little intervals throughout the day of either stretching or Pilates. I'll plug it in there. But the thing is, it is a great, that kind of exercise I find is great, just to kind of have as a little kind of 5 or 10 minute break intermittently through the day, because you're not kind of having to worry about getting too hot and sweaty and bothered about stuff, and it's just a little bit more manageable mentally to get and do that. So do that. Obviously try and elevate your heart rate as well if you can. Have an actual allocated part of the day where you go and do some form of fitness and higher intensity training, I think. But just staying mobile and moving. That's one of the biggest things I say to all of my clients, is to think about the stuff that you're not doing for your exercise sort of stuff, your workouts. Think about just getting out and trying to increase your activity levels, because that it all goes towards it. And the beauty of what's going on at the moment is that there's so much available now online, so really you're just a click away from having some pretty decent instructors out there sort of giving you some tips and ideas of what to do.
Yeah, and you mentioned obviously things are online at the moment, but I guess how can your clients and potential clients continue to support you and your business during this period? To as much as I've just said, obviously everything's online, and there is a lot of stuff out there at the moment that's sort of being given away, and it is great. But having said that, there is also huge value in finding an instructor that you build a relationship with, and they learn you learn them, and you start to bounce and with each other, and you start to progress and actually see decent results. Not that you wouldn't necessarily get that from dropping in and out of sort of live stuff, but I do know that personal touch makes a big difference, because when you're talking about sort of injury prevention and just working around certain things to keep yourself moving and active, it definitely helps to have someone that and who knows you as well. And you can still do that online, when we do the sort of, everything's sort of done on Zoom now, isn't it? So there's still that chance to have a conversation and connect with your instructor. So if you can find someone that you like, someone that you get on with and that you like their style, and reach out and sort of start to build up that relationship. And just before we move on, what would be your advice to someone thinking about starting a career in the fitness industry?
Starting a career in the fitness industry, go for it. It's so rewarding, and there's no limit to it. There's so many different avenues that you can go down, my advice would be, it was a long time since I actually went and did my qualifications, so I'm sure a lot has changed since then, but find what you love. I'm very blessed actually, and actually it's interesting because obviously with this event that I'm doing next year, it's going to be a fairly big junction in my life, and it's kind of got me thinking, well, when I come back, would I look at doing something different? but it's not like I've got an office job, or typically like an office job. I'm not in a job that I kind of am just stuck in and I don't really like, and actually I'll think, oh yeah, I'll go and do something completely different and follow my dream, because I already do that. I already really do enjoy and love, I'm passionate about what I do. So that's what I would say. My advice to anyone that wants to do it is, if you've got passion for it, and if you're invested, then yeah, go for it. And I would say specialize as well. Go find something specifically that you want to invest in and learn about, because that's when you're going to be really giving your best service to the world, is when you really love it.
Absolutely. Well, your dog makes another guest appearance on the show. Which one is this? What's
This is Pixie. She is just, honestly, everyone thinks that she's the best, the most well-behaved, but this is just, she knows she's too smart for her own good. So she knows that when I do my Zoom classes, for example, because I'm talking to you, she's very aware that my attention is elsewhere, and so she knows that there's someone else at the end. Honestly,
a bit jealous. I think we'll have to get Pixie up next time on the show.
Oh, 100%. People absolutely love her. I of course love her, but she, she's definitely, she tries to steal the spotlight. Don't you? Yeah, you're too sassy for your own good. But yeah, so sorry, I can get her out of the way.
It's absolutely fine. I think it's fantastic. We've never had a dog appear on the show yet, so it's brilliant.
Well, there you go, Pix. You're a little first.
So let's move on now to this amazing fundraising challenge that you're taking on next year.
Yeah.
So, rowing 2,400 miles from San Fran to Hawaii as part of the Great Pacific Race. Can you sort of explain the challenge, who you will be rowing with, and how the opportunity came about?
Yeah. So I'm rowing it with Vicki, Anstey and Jane Leonard. I will try and sort of condense the journey thus far on how it's all sort of come about. But basically, Vicki started this with an original crew, and it's morphed quite a lot sort of in the time that it was all sort of started, which was a while ago. And long story short was they were meant to launch this race and do this race this year in 2020. Obviously that didn't happen because of COVID. Sadly, the two other crew members were unable to continue on because of work commitments, and obviously because of the effects of COVID and things like that. So sadly they had to pull out of it, and Vicki was then left sort of determined to get it done. And invited myself to jump in, and it was kind of a very sort of an interesting sort of text, I think, where she was just like, because I was aware that she was doing it, and she was just a bit sort of do you want to row an ocean or something, like as blasé as that. And then my instinctive reaction was just a big fat thumbs up. And then so that was that we were then a duo, if you like, two of us sort of then thinking about the next steps, and obviously we were looking at getting more people involved, and that's when Jane came along, and instantly we kind of took a really strong liking to each other, and became a trio. So the race itself is you can either be a 3 or a 4 man crew. We were originally sort of leaning more towards being a 4-man, but just as things progressed and as we started to evolve, we kind of landed on quite liking the thought of being a trio. There's a number of reasons for that. I think a big factor was that when we met Jane and we all sort of got together, we really liked the dynamic of us, and we're just, I think also just the sort of the process of recruiting, it is quite a process, and actually it can be quite stressful. Well, it was quite stressful. So I think we went through a couple of sort of candidates, and we landed on Jane, and we're at that point just kind of a bit like, okay, well, let's just sort of settle with this and see where we are and how we go, and then go from there. Another big thing for us is that there's only ever been one other trio of women that have crossed Pacific, this chunk of the Pacific, and done and completed this race. So they set the record for that. We would like to beat that record. So their record, I think they did it in 62 days. So we'd like to come in under that. And we are, I think, we're the only trio of women in this race in 2021 as well. So we are up against, I think there's 2 other all-female crews, and they're both 4s, and we are going to be really ambitious, and we're going to try and beat them as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we just, I think, we're quite, I know, obviously, you know, it's a monumental challenge anyway, but, you know, so why not set the bar really high?
Totally.
So,
I think it sounds amazing, and obviously a lot of hard work will have to go into it. Before we touch on sort of your training and that sort of stuff and what you need to do, obviously this is a fundraising challenge for you guys. You're raising funds and awareness for 3 hugely important causes in Mates in Mind charity, Inspiring Girls International, and the Harlequins Foundation. Can you sort of touch on the significance of these charities, why they are so close to your hearts, and why you've chosen them?
Yeah. So the first one, Mates in Mind, is to do with mental health, and so obviously, you know, that's going to be something that we're all very feel strongly about. It's something that's quite prevalent at the moment, making sure that we're supporting people that are going through those kinds of struggles. The Inspiring Girls and the Harlequins Foundations have a little bit more of a connection, trying to, in the name, I can't think of the expression, but yeah, it's in the name. It is about sort of just trying to be a positive influence to the younger generation, and in particular, you know, women. As we don't want to kind of be sort of waving the feminist flag in any way, but it is about showing the ambition of women, and showing that, you know, we as 3 very, very novice rowers, you know, to just sort of stand up and pull ourselves together, especially with the challenges that the previous crew and the sort of the journey of Girls Who Dare has gone through, to then sort of you know, come together and actually get this done. That's what we're sort of that's the significance of those charities, and sort of why we are linked and connected to them. So yeah.
Fantastic. And I saw that you've raised over £80,000 on your fundraising page. I'm going to put the fundraising link on your screens now. So if you you know, please head over, check it out, and donate if you can. It will also be below this video on YouTube to help this amazing challenge. But yeah, the training, the fitness schedule, and the nutrition, I guess, what does that look like for this challenge, and what is the plan going forward over the next few months?
Yeah, it is. It's I mean, we're all luckily in pretty good physical states, I would say, you know, so we're obviously all have been involved in either sport or certainly, you know, high levels of activity, and, you know, fairly big challenges before. So Vicki obviously did the SAS Who Dares Wins a couple of years ago, like incredible challenge, you know, in terms of the physicality involved in that. And she was also, I think she's done 5 marathons, so, you know, big endurance athlete. Jane is just to another level. She just like casually messaged us a couple of weeks ago, like, yeah, going on a 20-mile run, you know, and it's like over the Brecons or something, you know, some crazy, you know, trail running. So my idea of utter hell, but so she's that we're talking that kind of level of endurance. And for myself, obviously, I've, you know, been involved in the rugby, and I'm probably would say I'm definitely more of a power strength athlete naturally, but, you know, all of that has a place in what we're going to do. So, you know, the rest of it can certainly be trained up and learned. The training involves essentially it will come down to, so it's about bulletproofing our bodies basically to withstand the sort of physicalities that will be involved, and just for the length of time. So we're going to be doing, it's a 3-hour rotation, so you row for 3 hours, you rest for 3 hours, and that will be pretty much the rotation for hopefully less than 62 days. So, you know, you're talking 2 months of that. You know, it's pretty nuts. The training that we have been doing so far, ideally we want to get out on the boat and replicate what we're doing in the same environment, and that same sort of stimulus, actually being on the oars and things like that, because it is quite difficult to replicate that on even just an erg machine, because it just doesn't provide exactly the same kind of feedback. But you know, we are doing that. We are doing a lot of strength work, strength endurance, and just apart from basically essentially making sure that our bodies don't break and buckle, it is going to be about mental toughness, you know, because it is painful. You know, the first time we went out, or so first time, my experience of the first time going out, I think we rode for maybe like an hour or two, and oh god, the pain, it kind of just travels around your body, you know, and then after a time it just kind of numbs a little bit. You just your perception of it changes. So it's basically having that attitude of just kind of keep on going. But you know, it's scary because the elements, that will be the scariest thing, I think, for me, sort of the process of kind of getting to grips with it, is knowing that the elements are you know, quite terrifying at times. Vicki actually talked about it the other day and said and she said that someone said to her that the sea is like a kitten playing with a ball of yarn. And that's kind of what I imagine, you know. It is, you know, there are times where you just you can get really caught out, and you know, so you've got a huge part of our training is obviously also about we need to learn how to be good out on the ocean and in our boat, and making sure that we're able to survive and make good decisions. So aside from the physical training, there's a huge element of, you know, we have to do certain courses and sea survival and being competent, you know, on and around the boat. So yeah, and definitely, obviously, the mental aspect which you spoke about, I guess, goes hand in hand with sleeping, and obviously you're not done, you know, you don't be sleeping, did you say, for a couple of hours, then getting up and doing your sort of shift, and then obviously getting some more sleep. Is that something you can try and prepare for, or will it just be a case of you know, seeing how you go? Yeah, definitely. I mean, the more we can try and replicate exactly the conditions that we're going to be in terms of, you know, sleeping for a couple of hours, going out and doing it, the closer we get into it, the more we'll be pushing for that volume of training. So like you would do at any endurance event, we're looking at kind of more, I suppose, like the loading up now, the strength work now, and as we push into next year, even with our rowing, you know, getting out on the boat, we're trying to lengthen out the shifts, we're going out for longer periods, or, you know, coming back in, having a rest, and then going out again. Obviously with lockdown and things, that does make it challenging, and there are issues with surrounding that. Yeah, so we will try and do that. I would like it if we do, so sort of closer to the time that we go out, if we could get kind of a 24-hour shift in, where we go out somewhere and then basically just kind of go through a rehearsal basically of what we'll be doing, because essentially that's what it will be. It'll be the same 24 hours on a reel, on repeat. Yeah. So yeah, it sounds incredible. I guess from a body fuel in your body point of view, how many calories will you have to sort of try and consume each day for the row, and what foods will you eat, I guess? Yeah, so that's actually something that I've been sort of leading up, working out that we will probably require anything between 4,000 to 4,800 calories a day each. That's based on us rowing 12 hours a day. You know, obviously there are times where, you know, when a storm hits and the weather is bad, we'll maybe have to sort of bunker down and there won't be an awful lot of rowing done. But yeah, so, you know, we're averaging between that. In terms of what we've got, so like the little rehydrated or dehydrated sachets, you know, packs, expedition packs. So it's just a case of boiling It's not a kettle, but it's like a little gas stovey thing that you take camping. So you boil that up, tip it in, and then stir it up, and there you go, done. So it's just about finding, at the moment we're kind of going through a process of sort of tasting stuff and testing it to figure out what we like, you know, because actually in something like this, having the comfort of food and just even like a nice snack, you know, it will be really good for morale and good for your spirits. So yeah, we're doing that. In terms of snacks, I actually put something out on my socials the other day because I'm kind of at a loss with it, really. I mean, we need whatever it is to be practical in terms of storage, because there's really not a lot of spare space to put stuff. We need it to be calorie dense, so you know you're getting as much sort of bang for your buck as you can with a smaller sort of volume of food, and you want it to be fairly palatable and a variety as well. So you know, obviously you could easily take maybe a load of sachets of something like a gel or whatever, but you know you need to also consider that you want to still be able to, you know, chew things and just little things that you kind of, I guess, take for granted a lot here on dry land. So in terms of snacks, I'm kind of unsure, because I kind of think, well, there's a lot of things that are high fat, high sugar that would tick all those boxes. But in terms of performance and effectively fueling yourself for this kind of endeavor, you know, what other options are there? So we're having a little play around, and if anyone has any suggestions on any of that, let us know.
Yeah, definitely. Let Sophie know if you have any ideas on what might be the best snack. You mentioned space on the boat, and as you say, there's not much at all. So what will you pack to wear? Mm-hmm. What will you wear each day for the row?
So this is a fun one, actually. So basically, we'll try not to wear very much, actually, because the sea, obviously, you know, it's, you know, salt water and all the rest of it. So one of the common issues that you face as an ocean rower are sores on your skin, and that kind of happen from, you know, being abrasion. So wearing clothes basically and having things rubbing on you, and obviously the salt water, you know, you only get out of the sea on the beach, and it's all like dry and sticky and horrible. So ideally not a lot, because there's less chance of that happening, but obviously if there are conditions that require us to be a bit more protected, we've got some great kit, actually. We've got some really cool jackets and waterproof trousers from Musto, a company called Musto, and they're amazing. So we've got like our little uniform, because we're all in the same colours, and we've got actually another great company called Armadillo have sent us a load of stuff, and that's things like socks. I think there's some leggings, some headbands and stuff like that. That's kind of, you know, all stuff that would help protect you from the elements. Things that we need to consider, I guess, are things like exposure. So maybe having something that's going to cover the back of the neck, or, you know, even obviously like lathering yourself up with sunscreen and whatever else. So there's a lot of stuff that we kind of still are very much sort of in the process of establishing what we will want and need. But yeah, we've got a rough idea.
Yeah, and you do obviously, as you mentioned, you need a few more bits of equipment and crucial elements for this fundraising challenge. So again, I'll put that fundraising link on the screen now, and if anyone can donate and help the guys out, that would be fantastic. The link is also below this video on YouTube, so head over and check it out. It sounds amazing. We've got some questions now to finish off from a few of our social media followers. So if you're ready to roll, I'll ping these at you.
Go for it.
So Jamie asks, what will be the first thing that you will eat and drink once you've completed the challenge?
Oh my God. So I actually would like to take with me a little mini bottle of champers, so that when we come into Hawaii, I can get that down me. Either that, or it could be something stronger. I might smuggle away a little a shot of something.
Definitely.
So I think that's definitely going to be the first thing that I drink. First thing I'll eat. Oh my God, I hadn't even thought about this. Because the thing is, I think a lot of the snacks that we'll be eating, it's not like it's going to be calorie controlled. So it's kind of all the stuff that you kind of wish you could eat in normal life. So do you know what? Possibly, actually, on that note, it will probably. I imagine I will probably be craving something fresh, fruit, veg. I would imagine.
Yeah, which I'm sure you can get in big supply in Hawaii. I'm sure it'll be very fresh and lovely over there. So
yeah, that'll be great.
He also asked you, will there be a way that people can track the boat throughout the challenge and watch your progress?
Yeah, there is. So in terms of our, getting stuff out and back to land, we will have, and we plan to have some devices that will allow us to do that. Ideally, we'd love to be able to record stuff and then ping it back. Yeah. The issue that we have around that is it requires a certain amount of data, and that obviously comes at an expense. So yes, there will be. I believe also we will have, we're setting up, or one of our companies that we are connected with are setting up an app. So people will be able to actually track us on the app. So we've got some cool stuff lined up for sure, but a lot of it is just all a bit TBC at the moment. So we'll get all the information out with how to track us.
Very good. Another question here relating to obviously your Pilates. Do you think that can improve your rowing, but also your rugby fitness?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. The Pilates 100%. I'm very thankful that I've been practicing that for the length of time that I have. Obviously it's hugely directed at core strength and stability. So I hope I'm not going to eat my own words here. But it's of the training that I've done and basically getting out and doing some pretty lengthy shifts out on the boat, I've felt good. I felt pretty strong. I felt very capable. I appreciate that is just a small segment of what we'll be doing, but my recovery rate has been pretty good as well. So it's been a case of I've not felt like the next day I need a week to get over it.
Yeah.
So I definitely would say that my experience as a rugby athlete and as a Pilates instructor and practicing that has helped with that for sure.
Very good. We've got some rugby questions here relating to Richmond. So moving topics now. But Laura asks you, what is your best memory playing for Richmond, and who was the best coach you've played under so far?
Oh my God. That's a
loaded spot here. Yeah.
Do you know what? I really enjoyed with Mark, our current coach, who came in this year. Yeah. Of the short time that I was there training under him, really enjoyed it. I thought that the atmosphere and the culture that he was creating was really spot on. So in a way, I was really sad to have to turn around and say, actually, I'm going to have to kind of pull back a little bit. Yeah. It really was was a tough decision to make. But and best memory, oh God. I don't know. I don't know if I have one really specifically. They're probably all to do with being very alcohol fueled, which probably isn't what people want to hear.
That's normally the case at our club.
No, I think you know what, it's just one of those things, like every experience of getting out in terms of playing, and every experience of getting out and having a chance to play with the girls and on those pitches and represent those colours, as cheesy as it sounds, it's all worth it, and I've loved every second of it. So yeah,
there's another question here actually on the socials. What is your favourite Richmond annual social? I guess they change each year, but
yeah. So probably I would say Oktoberfest was always a good one. That was always a highlight. Good. It was nice. It was always a good chance to socialise within the whole club. So yeah, we'll say Oktoberfest.
And sliding on tables and everything like that.
Thought you didn't know about that.
What a social that is. Another question here, a bit more serious one. What makes Richmond the best club for girls or for women wanting to start their rugby journey?
I think that their integration process is really great. We've got a lot of the girls that have come up from, like, young girls who are coming up and through the sort of through the clubs and through the different levels. So it's a really lovely transition. It's not a case of kind of you can kind of get involved and get in the mix. And I know everywhere would say this, and I'm completely biased, but everyone there is so welcoming and lovely. And as I said, certainly when I left, there was a lot of younger players. Maybe it was just highlighting how old I am, but yeah. So I think it is definitely one of the best. And obviously they've got it's such a huge club. It's got so many different. You've got the minis and the juniors and whatever, and then going all the way up to the heavies. So really, it's a club for life, I think. Once you're there, you stay.
Yep. Here's
just to let you know, I've got the other dogs woken up now, so if you can hear him snorting and grunting, it's
so just an FYI, that's not me snorting, that's the dog. Who's been the best Richmond player you've played with at the club?
Oh God.
Tough
yeah, these are tough questions. It's, best Richmond player. It's horrible because there's so many now reeling through my head. It's tough to land on one. I think Linny Campwell was amazing to play with. So yeah, I think just in general she had an amazing, approach to the game and the club and to other the players as well. So yeah.
And a very different one, but who is the biggest party animal in the women's section at Richmond?
Biggest party animal. Oh, okay. Who's the biggest party animal? I'm gonna say of the more recent, Kirsty Lee Griffiths, otherwise known as Clee.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would say she's pretty loose. So yeah. No, I'm not sure she'll thank me for saying that, but yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. Now, just finally, we've already touched on this throughout the interview, but there's a question here from an unnamed follower that asked you: is it true your dogs, Sully and Pixie, are the real stars and reason behind the success of your online fitness classes?
Oh my God, yeah, 100%. Honestly, that's people often coming out of the last lockdown were forever sort of saying, giving me feedback saying that they missed the dogs. But it's a very interesting one because obviously part of the transition into going online and also working from home. My flat isn't huge, so I'm sort of there thinking I've got to maintain professional look, and then I can't put the dogs anywhere, so I'd be teaching a class and the dog's there sort of licking my face. I think there's a picture somewhere of Pixie's like lying on my chest as I'm trying to do a curl up, and I'm in my head thinking, oh my God, people are just going to go, they're going to log out because they haven't come to watch this, but no, quite the opposite. Yeah, people love them. I obviously love them, but I do get worried that they can be somewhat of a distraction. But to answer that, 100%, the dogs are the star of the show all the time.
Absolutely. Yeah. Sophie, brilliant stuff. We'll finish up. A huge thanks for your time today. It's been awesome to chat.
Thank you.
And I think when I speak on behalf of everyone at Richmond, good luck with your training and obviously the preparation over the next few months. We can't wait to see how it all unfolds, and hope it all goes well. Remember, if you can, to please get behind this incredible challenge. The fundraising link will be below this video on YouTube. Jump over and get behind the girls, and follow them on social media for all the latest updates and news as it progresses. But Sophie, thanks again and good luck.
Great to chat. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's great. Thanks so much, Tom. And
not a problem. Everyone, thanks for tuning in. This has been another episode of Inside Richmond, the official podcast of Richmond Rugby Club. See you next time for another episode. Cheers, guys.